Ladies and gentlemen, Clojure lists. If you don't know which sequence or which collection you should use, then use a vector because there you get something that is really good at adding values to the end. With the list, you get a collection that is really good at adding values in front of the sequence. So if you want to do that, then use a list. List can contain duplicates just like a vector. So if you want something that is unique, then use a set instead. So if you want unique values in your collection, then use a set. But this video will be about a list, how to use it, and yeah, let's just get started. And as usual, if you're in any doubt or if you want to know more, then go to clojure.org and read up on the guides. They are quite good actually. So this is the list demo that I prepared right here. And if you didn't know it, then when you're creating files in Clojure, then you would use a snake case for those. And when you write the namespace, then you do that with kebab case. Of course, you can also choose to do it with snake case, but you have to do it with the snake case or kebab case. Let's just see what happens if we try to use camel case. Then it fails. Okay, but that was a little bit off topic. So here we have a function. I've named it demo list. So this is how to create a function. Every time we have round brackets, then we are calling something. So that means we are calling def_in, and def_in is also a function. Sometimes it will be a macro that I'm calling. It is, for instance, do_sec is a macro. This is a function. So it is kind of the same thing. So if you're a beginner, don't just use the word that you like the most. But if you want to know if it's a function or not, you can just hold Control and then you can click on the macro or function, and then you can see right here it says def_in. And if it doesn't say macro in front, then it's a function. So that's a good rule. If I go and press do_sec, if I hold Control right there and click it, then I can see it says def macro in front, and that means that it is actually a macro. So yeah, but that was again a little bit off topic, but just so you know that. Yeah. And if you're a Java developer like me, then and you just got started with Clojure, then you would definitely like to know that. Again, every time we have a round bracket, then we call something. We call the print line macro or function. Let us just check. It is a function, the print line function, and it says list demo, and then we start the list right here. And here we are calling let, and we are defining. We're creating variables, so we're creating letters, and then we are creating a list. So we use the character sign right here, the single quote. So a single quote, and then round brackets, and then the elements that you want to have inside your list. And in this situation, it's just strings because then it just makes it easier to talk about. Again, then we can use the conj, C-O-N-J. If you want to add something to it, then just use the conj function. And it is the same function as when you're using vectors. So just as a bonus information right here, and it adds it to the front of the list. Yeah. So that means that right now, because we are dealing with immutability, all our variables are immutable by default because it's Clojure. Then when we are doing this, or when we call the conj function right here, then we're actually creating a new vector, which this will be assigned to right here. So that is how it works. So we call this, and then we set it to this variable right here. Okay, so that means that we're actually defining two variables in this with this let right here. Cool. That's quite cool. So letters and updated letters, and then we are printing them all out. There's a nice toString method on them. So when we are printing them out, like with printline, the printline function, then then we get the whole sequence represented. We got to print it out. Yes, and then if you want just one value, then we can actually call first. So that means then we'll get the first value. If you want a specific value, then we can call the nth value, and then that means that in this situation we will get the second value because the index starts with 0. So we start with 0 and then 1. So that means that we should get a C out here, right? It's updated letters, right? Let me just see. Okay, that means then we should get a B out there. Yes. And Then we can also say rest, so then we get all values after the first one. So that means that we will not get the first value, but we will get all the rest of the values out. So those are quite cool, those functions right there. It makes it much easier to play around with the list. If we want to iterate through the list, then we can do it with do sequence like this. So yeah, and then we can print out each value afterwards like this. And then I have created this main function right here in the bottom. And again, we are using defn, means name definition, main, and it takes some arguments. This is a docstring, so don't be, this is because there was too much copy paste right here. So we'll say like this. So this is the docstring. This is for documentation. If you want to document what you're doing, then you can add a string in the middle of the function like this. Yes, if you're a Java developer, then it looks a little bit weird. And if you're used to Java doc, yes, it looks weird, but it's totally possible right here. And then you can call something right here, the demo list. And if you're a Java developer and you're puzzled about where is the return type of this function right here, why don't we have to write void or something like that? We don't have to do that in Clojure, because whatever we do as a last line, that is what is being returned. And in this situation, demo list is not returning anything. We're not returning anything, we're just printing out stuff. And that means that this main is also not returning anything. So yeah, so that's how it works. It's a little bit more simple with Clojure. We don't have to say void every time that a method is not returning anything. And of course, when it's Clojure, you talk about functions, not methods. Okay, so now we're printing out. Let us see the output. We have an original list, B, C, D. And then we have A, B, C, D, because that is the updated list, because when we are adding elements to a list, then it is always added in the front. If we want to get the first value, we get the A. If we want to get the second value, we get B. If we use the rest function, then we get B, C, D. If we want to iterate through them with this do sec macro, then we get all of the values like this. That is quite cool. It is quite simple. But Mike, what about the command? How does all of this magic actually happen? What actually happens is that it runs inside the JVM. So that means that we're actually running Java right now. We're at java.exe, and then we run the jar file. Then we run not this one right here. That was the idea. But there's a Clojure jar file. So we actually run Clojure. There's a main program inside Clojure that we're running. And when we're running that, then all of our CLJ files, those will be converted into .class files, but into the memory, not on the disk, not on the computer itself, like we do with Java. With Java, first we compile, and then we run it, but not with Clojure. With Clojure, you just put in the files, and then they are going to be compiled when and placed into the JVM by the Clojure jar file. That's also why it can take a little bit of time to start up. So if you want to have something that is already running, or if you want to have something lightweight, then use Babaska. Or if you want to have something that is always already up and running, then you can use the REPL. That is why you actually start a JVM, and then you can continue to write Clojure code inside it. And REPL is read, eval. It just means a terminal. It just means a terminal where you can write Clojure code in it. But it's read, eval, print, and loop. Yeah. So it reads what you are typing in. It evaluates it, and then it prints something out in the terminal. And then then loops it back again, and then you do the same thing again. So that is actually this is the command. So it's just to show you what's going on. If you're a Java developer, then all of this is a little bit new and weird. In the last video, I showed you how to use the vector, and inside the vector, we actually had a way to get the index out. Let's see if we can actually copy that part right here. So we have a map in the index right here. Now I'm going to steal this code. I'm going to add it to our list demo right here, and let's go down here after. So let's say that we don't just want the letters, we also want the index. So let's say that we want to have index, and then instead of number right here, we will just write letter. And map index, this is not a vector, so we will just say list. This is a list, and it's not extended numbers, it is updated letters that we want. Update the letters like this. Updated letters, and then we say println has index, and then we say letter. And let us see what then happens. It is not, yeah, it's because I did not add the correct place. I still didn't add it. It's a bit difficult sometimes with all of these round brackets, but you actually get used to it. So inside this let call right here, then we also, yeah, we are finishing the let right here. That means that the variables that we are declaring, those are right here. And if we try to use them outside of this let scope, if we try to do something out here, then of course it's not known anymore. So it's only known inside this scope right here. It also means that you're much more aware of your scope than with Java. Okay, so here now we're printing out. So we say index has value, and yeah, let us just try to run it. So Control-Shift F10. Or it is running right now. It is struggling. I can see that because I don't have the play button. Control-Shift F10. I think I pressed it. I don't know why I didn't show it. Okay, but here we have it now. Index 0 has value A. Index 1 has value B, C, D. If you have some macros and function that works for the vectors, then usually they also work for the lists. It's of course there are some that doesn't work, but yes. But this one did, so I was lucky there. So that means that I'm using the map indexed function. I think it's a function. Yes, it's a function because it doesn't say macro. So it's a function, and then we get the index right here and the value right here. And yeah, then we can actually print them out like this. That's quite cool. And yeah, lists are easy to use, just like vectors. So, but if you don't know which one to use, then just use the vector because it's just good with indexing, and it adds to the end of the sequence, which is usually what you want to do, right? If you have like a queue or something like that. Yeah. Thank you very much for all of your comments, and thank you very much for watching, and thank you just for being you, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.